You got the Nest Betting sponsorship ready?
We don't have an open for Nest Betting.
We don't?
That's just Eno hasn't opened. You
Oh.
always manually do Kotsay's.
Wow.
Link sold.
You're Nest Betting.
Oh, are you sure?
Yeah. I can make things happen. I can make whatever you want happen. You're Mark Kotsay, for God's sakes. You're the manager of the Oakland Athletics. Brought to you by Nest Betting. Love where you sleep. Check out their location in the Bay Area, or you go to nestbetting.com. And whether it's your bed, your mattress, your pillows, you sleep on a Nest bed from Nest Betting.
I do.
Check out nestbetting.com. Well, how are you? It's been a while.
It has been a little time.
We've been calling you every week, but you don't call back.
That's not my fault that I don't call back, because you actually really never call.
That's true. I give you the off season.
Rocco Baldelli, who's sitting right over there, called me more than Chris Townsend.
We had Rocco yesterday for like 2 minutes.
Stud. We could be brothers, huh?
You're better looking than him.
Oh, I don't know. He's
taller,
managerial list. He's probably higher than I am. The white beard really throws everybody.
Yeah, you're not an old guy.
No, I just turned 48. Had a birthday.
You went white
Saturday.
pretty early, didn't you? You were blonde back in the day.
I was blonde. And I had hair. Really good hair when I was here in 04, 05, 06.
I remember you in college, for God's sakes. I'm excited, and I know A's fans, everybody's pissed off right now, and we all get it. But we're still going to talk baseball and talk about the team. And I just think about going into this spring training. There is talent. There is legit talent that compete. And I think spring training, we're going to have battles on the mound. I think we're going to have battles, whether we're talking infield, or we're talking outfield, like legit battles for playing time. I don't know what it's going to mean wins-wise, but I think there's something here. It's going in the right direction.
Yeah, I think, obviously David and Billy in the front office of baseball ops group, they've tried to do their best to assemble and get, the most amount of talent to the big leagues as fast as possible, which we saw last year. And those A's fans, obviously a challenging year in all facets. And it continues to be challenging. It's going to continue to be challenging going forward. The reality is, though, that, we understand the situation we're in, and we want to accelerate that progress, and we want to accelerate getting back on the map and in this division, competing to win this division. And I, like you said, I think we do have a collection of talent that the A's fans saw come together really in August and September. If you look at the first half of the year, we were staring at history, and Zach Geloff showed up and a couple others, and kind of changed the culture. The next group that came, the Soderstrom Butler group, kind of recognized how difficult the big leagues really are. And I think the culture that was built in September amongst this young group is going to continue forward in spring training. They're going to continue to challenge each other. They're going to continue to hold each other accountable, which is all the right things to build going forward for, winning ball club.
Dave Stewart just walked by. Dave Stewart is going to get you the number one pick.
Yeah, Dave Stewart.
It's his response. We had him on earlier today. Dave just went. They're going to have the draft lottery. Dave just walked by. It is Dave's responsibility to bring home the number one pick.
If anybody can get it done with that mean mug look when he was on the mound in that room, Dave Stewart can get it done.
He's still at like 67. Could take anybody in that room.
I wouldn't mess with Dave Stewart.
A black belt still to this day. Yeah, I would not. I would not mess with Dave Stewart. How important is it for you to make sure that all the noise is blocked out? Because there's going to be a lot of noise.
Well, I think the challenging thing, Townie, is really our players have gone through the noise. This group that's coming back next year, the vast majority of them have played in front of the noise. And so they understand that the noise isn't directed at them as individuals, as players. It's directed at, obviously ownership to say the truth. And so we utilized the noise in a positive, I think. And you could feel the emotion and passion behind, obviously, the anger that the fans have, but also utilizing it in a positive. And I think we showed when we had good crowds, we actually played our best baseball. And that's not to say that we can't play our best baseball when there are good crowds. But I think our guys really rose to the occasion.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, there were times where the house was rocking and there was some well played games.
Yeah, and then it went silent in the 5th, and we gave up 2 runs. Do you remember that game? That was the reverse boycott game. When they showed up full force, and
Yeah.
and it was great. The environment was amazing. Yesterday I was asked, what the emotion was when I heard that the relocation was voted yes and the owners approved it, and obviously you understand. The passion and anger and you feel that and they're hurt and they have a right to be, but for me, I know, as an Oakland Athletic and one that played here in front of the group, and none of those fans are going to walk away without the fight that they've shown, and we'll see how it goes forward. That my goal, I said yesterday as well, is to continue to play in the Coliseum until that day happens, really.
Control what you can control.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's all you can do. Like,
Yeah.
people want answers. People want answers from whether it's someone like yourself, someone like myself, and it's like that everything is so far above our head. We're not even in the discussions. We're not, and I know that they just want to be able to talk to somebody and get answers, and we're not the people. We can only focus on what we can control, and that's the baseball part of it.
It really is, and it's getting this club back on a winning track and as fast as possible, and instilling the fundamentals and the disciplines that it takes to win baseball games, which we're going to start out in spring training with this group and really drill that home. I think the biggest thing for us is understanding that we're going to make mistakes, but cleaning those mistakes up and playing a clean game. It starts on the mound, and we can talk about the mound. You look at the year last year and the first 2 months on the mound, we were really, really bad. And we made adjustments. Scott Emerson and Mike McCarthy at the time really dug in, and the focus was just throw strikes and, don't give up free bases. And I think they learned a lot. JP Sears had a tremendous year for making 32 starts and posting every 5th day, taking the ball. Then we got to see a little bit of excitement and a kid that we watched for 3 starts in Boyle, right?
Very excited about the big young man from Notre Dame.
Yep. And then you saw Estes as well, who's 21 years old, come in very poised and have some pretty decent outings. So it's there. We got hurt a little bit with the Ken Waldachuk injury that's probably going to linger a little bit and set him back. But like you said, there's enough talent, and what we know we need to address and what we're going to try to address and do our best with is bring some pitching in, to help these guys.
When I look at Geloff, I look at Noda, there's some guys that I see that, you could say, okay, this is the position that they are going to play, and that's the way it's going to start the season. Then I think there's a lot of battles out there, but they're good battles. Like, talk about when you're heading to spring training, in your mind, how you see some of these battles.
Yeah, I think, obviously the outfield is crowded with talent. You look at a guy like J.J. Billaday that came back for that last series against Anaheim through the injury that we were without for 6 weeks or more. You look at Esther Ruiz, Lawrence Butler. So those 3 guys that can complement center field that are going to go compete. Seth Brown coming back, Brett Rooker coming back. We added a young bat out of the Pirates organization, a kid named Andujar, that can hit a little bit. And so there's going to be some competition, as you talk about, the middle of the infield. Nick Allen, we know what he can do defensively, and I thought he played an above average defensive shortstop this year, and he knows what he needs to do offensively. We saw it get better. We saw his on base go up. We saw his approach get better, doing the fundamental things that he needs to do offensively down in the bottom of the order to help us generate runs. And so then you've got Zach and you've got Jordan Diaz. You got a Ledmus coming back. So you know, there's like you said, there's some
Hernaiz is
competition.
there for you. You brought in Toro. I mean, there's all kinds of guys.
Yeah, there are. And
Brett Harris.
Brett Harris is down there. You know, you even look at Jacob Wilson as a kid that could accelerate himself through these
Like
systems.
that.
So
Yeah.
the young kid Max Muncy, who's a shortstop that was, you know, played in the fall league. So, you know, and then you've got the, you know, the catching situation with Lang. And I talked a lot about Lang. I compared him a lot to Murphy's first year. I continued to talk about it all season. The kid ended up hitting over 20 homers. You know, he ended up, you know, catching 150 plus games.
Threw a lot of guys out.
Threw a lot of guys out, and he's going to get better. It's just, you've got to be patient, and I use that word as well this last season. And you know, going forward, it's not like we're going to have a roster of a bunch of guys going to arbitration. I think Seth Brown and Paul Blackburn are the only two going to arbitration, which means they're the only two with 3+ years in the big leagues on a roster outside of Aledmus, who's got a guaranteed deal. But there's just a lot of youth, but yet a lot of excitement about that youth.
Last year, I remember we were talking to spring training. I was kind of like, well, you know, you're kind of, you know, we'll see. This year, it's like, let's go. Oh,
yeah, there's a little bit of an expectation level to come out of the gate and to play better. You know, and if we can get, you know, years like we talk about, you know, you put a team together and you're basically trying to assess, you know, an average year for each guy, and you want to get an above average year from different guys, but we're basing that on not a lot of data and not a lot of, you know, big league experience. So there's a big variable curve there. And as we saw the Diamondbacks, I mean, their process took, you know, a couple of years. They accelerated it, and there's nothing that says that can't happen here.
Well, a lot to be said. I know you got to go. You're going to be on MLB Network. You got to get out of here, but a lot needs to be said about the job that you did, just not as a field manager, everything that you had to do with a lot of different things that went your way, because it was not easy whatsoever. And there was a lot of questions that were thrown at you that shouldn't have been thrown at you. You shouldn't have to answer that kind of stuff. But you did a phenomenal job in a really, really tough situation that most managers in the history of the game haven't had to go through, what you went through this past year, and you nailed it. And it showed your leadership. You're a leader of men. I think you proved a lot to yourself, and I think you grew a lot this past season.
Yeah, and there's no doubt. And we all have to learn from our past and our mistakes. And, you know, going forward, just try to be better. Just try to be better every day. And that's the goal for me and for this group going into the 24 season.
Have a great Christmas. Happy holidays with the family. And next time we talk, we'll probably be spring training.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me on, Tanner.
Great, Mark Kotsay.